Have you ever felt stuck? Like no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to move closer to your goals? It's frustrating, right? But what if the real reason isn't something outside of you? What if you're secretly holding yourself back without even realizing it? Today, we're going to explore how we might be sabotaging our own success, and more importantly, how to stop it. Self-sabotage. It's a term we hear, but what does it actually mean? Self-sabotage is any action or thought pattern that holds you back from achieving your full potential. It might look like procrastination, doubting your abilities, or even setting goals so high they become impossible to reach. These behaviors and thoughts don't just slow you down. They can keep you stuck in the same place, year after year. And here's the kicker. Most of the time, we don't even know we're doing it. How we secretly hold ourselves back? Let's talk about the most common ways people hold themselves back. The first is fear of failure. Think about how often we avoid taking risks because we're scared of failing. It's natural to want to protect ourselves from disappointment, but that fear can also stop us from reaching out for opportunities that could change everything. You can't succeed if you don't try, but fear has a way of convincing us that trying isn't worth the risk. Another major factor is perfectionism. Have you ever delayed starting something because it didn't feel perfect yet? Or maybe you abandoned a project halfway through because you couldn't get it just right. Perfectionism can feel like a good trait on the surface. It makes us want to produce high-quality work, but in reality, it often stops us from finishing anything at all. Then there's negative self-talk. How often do you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes," or "I'll never succeed"? These thoughts might seem harmless at first, but they add up over time, becoming a soundtrack in our minds that drowns out any belief in our abilities. Why do we self-sabotage? To understand why we self-sabotage, we have to dig deeper into the psychology behind it. Many of these behaviors are rooted in limiting beliefs, things we've learned from our experiences, upbringing, or environment. For example, if you grew up in a household where success was met with criticism or envy, you might subconsciously avoid success as an adult to keep those feelings away. Past failures can also shape the way we act now. If you've tried and failed before, it's easy to carry that memory with you, convincing yourself it's safer not to try again. But here's the thing. Every successful person you've ever admired has failed, probably more than you can imagine. The difference is, they didn't let those failures define them. Sometimes self-sabotage comes from a fear of success itself. It sounds strange, but success can bring pressure, responsibility, and change, and that can be terrifying. If deep down, you believe you're not ready for that kind of responsibility, you might unconsciously sabotage your efforts to avoid it. So how do we break free from these patterns? First, we need to recognize when and how we're holding ourselves back. Awareness is the foundation for change. Start by paying attention to the thoughts and actions that pop up when you're working toward your goals. Are you procrastinating, doubting yourself, striving for perfection? Write these patterns down. They're your starting point. Next, challenge those thoughts and behaviors. Let's say you're procrastinating because a task feels overwhelming. Break it into smaller, manageable steps. Or if you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not good enough," replace that thought with evidence of your past successes. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about reminding yourself of the truth. One of the most powerful ways to overcome self-sabotage is to shift your focus from the outcome to the process. Instead of obsessing over whether you'll succeed, focus on taking consistent action every day. Success isn't a single moment. It's the result of showing up again and again, even when it's hard. Let me share a personal moment that completely changed the way I approached my goals. There was a time in my life when I felt like I was spinning my wheels. I had all these ambitions, but I wasn't making any real progress. I blamed my circumstances, other people, and even bad luck. But deep down, I knew the truth. I was holding myself back. I was scared of failing. I wanted everything to be perfect before I started, and I constantly doubted whether I had what it took to succeed. It wasn't until I decided to confront those fears head-on that things began to shift. I gave myself permission to fail, to learn, and to grow. And guess what? That's when I started achieving more than I ever thought possible. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start. The perfect moment doesn't exist. The moment to start is now. Let's recap the key points. Fear of failure, perfectionism, and negative self-talk are some of the most common ways we hold ourselves back. These behaviors often come from limiting beliefs or past experiences, but they don't have to define us. By recognizing these patterns, challenging them, and focusing on consistent action, we can break free from self-sabotage and move closer to our goals. Now I want to hear from you. What's holding you back from achieving your goals? Is it fear, doubt, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to start a conversation about this. And if you're looking for more strategies to build the life you want, check out my other videos. It's packed with practical tips to keep you moving forward. Don't forget to like this video, share, and subscribe.